So, folks, you know how Zoran Mamdani's been like getting attacked like nonstop every single day since he won the primary in New York. Well, there was a mass shooting in New York City, and Politico wasted no time in trying to blame Zoran Mamdani in some capacity for the shooting. So let's take a look at this absolutely dog shit article here. Just Zoran Mamdani's impending high wire act managing the NYPD. Let's take a look. All of it puts Mamdani, the Democratic nominee for mayor and the leading candidate in the general election, on a collision course with the NYPD's more than 30,000 officers and their powerful labor unions. Appeasing everyone will be impossible. He's going to walk through the door with the department and police unions very nervous, said Terrence Monahan, who previously served as chief of department, the highest uniformed rank in the NYPD. They're going to jump on anything he does or says, which I need to remind everyone here, that was always going to happen. If you can go like the Bill de Blasio route and like throw a ton of funding at the NYPD, they're still going to hate you. They're still going to hate you. You can also go the Zoran Mamdani route, and surprise, they're still going to hate you. There is no appeasing the NYPD. Throughout the campaign, Mamdani has stuck to mostly anodyne message. He's pledged to maintain funding for the department while creating a Department of Community Safety in the hopes officers and detectives can focus more on solving crimes, but his reputation precedes him. 2 days after an NYPD officer was fatally gunned down in a mass shooting in Manhattan, Mamdani on Wednesday continued to face criticism for his past statements. While he was on vacation in Uganda and slow to respond to the shooting, his prior views immediately resurfaced after it became clear NYPD officer Didarul Islam was among those killed. Pulling the tension even tighter will be how Mamdani cooperates, or not, with the administration of President Donald Trump, who has mused about taking over New York City governance on account of Mamdani's affiliation with the Democratic Socialists of America, and has falsely suggested Mamdani is in the country illegally. Why on earth would he cooperate with the Trump administration? Why would he do that? It's like Politico is implying he should work with the Trump administration that wants to deport him? It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. The Democratic nominee has already pledged to push back against arrests being carried out by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, but the NYPD collaborates with all manner of federal law enforcement agencies on issues like gun and drug trafficking and interstate pursuits of those accused of crimes. Yeah, and guess what? Surprise, surprise. He hasn't said that NYPD shouldn't collaborate on things like gun and drug trafficking and pursuit of wanted fugitives. Surprise, he hasn't said anything like that. But the fact that Politico is throwing that in there is meant to poison the waters. It's meant to imply that, like, oh, he doesn't want to do those things. It's crazy. Should Mamdani take charge of the NYPD, the effects could ripple across the city for both New Yorkers and police officers. Notice, by the way, that New Yorkers and police officers are two distinct categories. Police officers aren't New Yorkers? That's interesting, right? His oversight of the force could also define the course of his mayoralty and the Democratic Socialist experiment more broadly. The city's police department has long drawn the ire of New York City progressives who have accused the NYPD of overly aggressive policing, surveilling the populace, protecting officers accused of misconduct, and resisting efforts at reform, which these are all true. Frank Serpico still can't go to New York City, you fucks! Taken together, the department's arch critics argue NYPD's modus operandi more broadly reinforces inequality and socioeconomic stratification. Yes. He walked back his more acerbic remarks about the department while offering few specifics about how he would manage it aside from a suite of pledges, like reining in overtime excesses. That reticence has given him more leeway in the general election against independents Andrew Cuomo, incumbent Eric Adams, and attorney Jim Walden, along with Republican Curtis Sliwa. Ah, the Ratman! The candidate who's most against the Ratman! Curtis Sliwa. He's a little bit of a blank slate, which is crazy. It's crazy to say, of all the candidates, that Zoran Mamdani is a blank slate. Dude has the most defined platforms of any of the candidates. If he's a blank slate, what does that make the other ones? God. So instead of answering questions about city-run grocery stores, how he will convince Governor Kathy Hochul to hike taxes in an election year, or particulars of free childcare, the Democratic nominee was pressed to explain his pledge to disband the Strategic Response Group, an NYPD division which has aggressively policed protests to the chagrin of New York City progressives and also responded to the active shooter situation on Monday. And he was asked repeatedly about his prior calls to defund the department, which just want to point out here, like, my understanding is that the shooter killed himself. So, like, I'm not entirely sure here what the Strategic Response Group actually accomplished, considering that, again, the shooter killed himself. But anyway, the state lawmaker recounted how he was informed of the shooting at 4 a.m. in Uganda and put out a statement shortly afterward, which, by the way, remember how earlier in this article they talked about his slow response? Yeah, because it was fucking 4 o'clock in the morning in Uganda. Is protest a crime? Certainly seems so to Politico. Also, can we point out here, I wonder if they link it. I wonder if they link it in here. Right? Oh, I don't think they link it. But folks, you'll never guess what Politico was trying to say was the damning statements that Zohran Mamdani said. You'll never fucking guess. Let me pull it up here real quick because it's genuinely insane. This is the damning statement about his past criticism of cops. His past criticism of cops is that he saw a he responded to a person seeing a police officer crying, and he said, "Nature is healing." Dude genuinely gets cooler every single goddamn time. Every time they try and attack this man. Because you know what? That cop isn't crying. That cop isn't crying because he like lost a friend in the line of duty. He's crying because it's November 7th of 2020 and Joe Biden just got elected. That's why he's making fun of that cop. For those of you who don't remember, conservatives freaked the fuck out that Joe Biden won the 2020 election. There were some QAnon believers who murdered them, killed themselves or killed their entire families because they were like, Joe Biden won. This is it. The lizard people are in charge. There's nothing left for us, only suffering. He's making fun of these insane losers. Yeah, maybe Zohran is right here, actually. So yeah, let's take a look also at how did Zohran actually respond to all this, because I think he did a good job after he got back.
And so I'm proud of the public safety platform we've put together, and I would say that for the former governor.
Wait, but that post is 5 years old? Yeah, from 2020. That is one of the comments they're saying where he mocked police officers.
To have spent an entire day speaking almost exclusively about me and barely about the New Yorkers who have been killed is indicative of the very politics New Yorkers want to leave in the past. We want to honor the New Yorkers who have been taken from us far too soon. We want to know their stories. They are not merely statistics. We want to know of their smiles, their hopes, their dreams. And yet here we have a former governor calling every reporter he can find to speak about tweets. What kind of leadership is that? And so I'm proud of the public.
Dude handles it all like a champion. Like a graceful goddamn mental Olympian. Dude just like fucking nails the obstacle course every single damn time. It's crazy. It's crazy how good he is at this. And I want to caution all of you, okay, just real quick, never be a fan of a politician. Be a fan of policies. Because inevitably Zohran Mamdani is going to slip in some capacity and is going to screw up. Yeah, and you can't let that ruin your entire worldview. He is really fucking good at this, but no person is perfect. So, so far though, he's nailing it. Be a policy wonk. Yeah, the thing we ultimately care about isn't the person who's in charge of our political apparatuses. Ultimately, what we care about are the outcomes, the policy outcomes, right? That's what you want to prioritize. You don't need to necessarily be a wonk, but you need to know at least what you believe in and what you're working towards. Aren't you perfect, though? Myself excluded. I will never screw up.
NYPD hands up. We are deporting Mamdani. I am Mamdani. No, wait. I am Mamdani. Actually, I am really Mamdani.
No, and I will screw up sometimes, you know? I'll screw up sometimes, and that's gonna be okay. Yeah, exactly, Pork Chop Express. Like, I think maybe a good comparison is like Bernie Sanders kind of blanching at the idea of calling what Israel is doing a genocide, but still advancing a bill to block sales of arms to Israel. Like Bernie's not perfect either, guys, but he's a damn sight better than what we got in almost every other capacity from our electeds. So I think like you got to be a little bit pragmatic when it comes to the vehicles for policy. We're the kind of gang that would crucify Zohran if a clip from him calling something gay as a 12-year-old on Xbox resurfaced. I mean, I would very much like to say that we wouldn't, but I think a lot of people would feel utterly and completely betrayed, and that's just not how we should feel about politics. I do like to subscribe to that Sam Cedar Majority Report mentality where it's like you support policies, not people. And you can like people, you can't treat them like you can't treat them like a messiah or a second coming or like, they are your new god. Like, don't be a fan of politicians. Be a fan of policies. In the same way, you don't critique individual people on the ground. You critique ideas and systems, right? I think that's reasonable. Anyway, better luck next time, folks going after Zohran Mamdani.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, dating, plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack.